Well, the UN's human rights chief said today that he was horrified by reports of mass graves found at medical facilities in Gaza. Palestinian authorities claim to have found more than 200 bodies following Israeli military operations. This as Israel prepares for a possible ground assault on Rafah, a city in southern Gaza. Well, CBS News foreign correspondent Debora Patta is in East Jerusalem now with more. Deborah, good morning.
A very good morning. Well, for more than 2 months, Israel has threatened to send troops into Rafah, but even without such an operation, it is still under daily bombardment.
Explosions in Rafah, hitting the tents of displaced Palestinians pressed up along the border with Egypt. Some of them had only just got there. Nobody in the world has had to run from death, said Abu Imad, only to find death chasing them again. Under pressure at home over U.S. policy on the war, Secretary of State Antony Blinken said they are investigating allegations of human rights abuses by Israel in Gaza.
Do we have a double standard? The answer is no.
The U.S. is also looking at blacklisting the IDF's Netzach Yehuda battalion, made up of ultra-Orthodox soldiers, for a number of alleged human rights violations in the Israeli-occupied West Bank. The unit was implicated in the death of a 78-year-old Palestinian-American, Omar Assad, in 2022. Mamdou Abu Ibud was detained by the unit with Assad and described how he died after being bound, blindfolded and abandoned in the freezing cold. First on the scene afterwards, Dr. Islam Abu Zahir.
He is old man, he is obese, he can't walk probably. He didn't make any kind of risk for us soldiers.
In Israel, a somber Passover holiday has begun. Relatives of hostages still in captivity burnt a symbolic Passover table outside the home of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, accusing him of failing their loved ones.
Now, the mere suggestion that the U.S. could blacklist an IDF unit has angered Israel, with Defense Minister Gallant saying, "Nobody will teach us about values and morals." Vlad, Anne-Marie?
So then, do we have any idea sort of when we may learn more about the U.S. decision to blacklist this IDF unit, and what could be involved in that? What does that mean?
Well, Anne-Marie, we should know what the U.S. decision is by the end of this week. Under U.S. law, America cannot give military aid to any foreign force if there is credible evidence that they committed human rights violations. Now, if this particular unit is blacklisted, it could be because Israel has not held the unit accountable for human rights violations in the past. Israeli human rights groups have long complained that Israel rarely holds soldiers accountable for the deaths of Palestinians. And the case in point is the one mentioned in our report, the death of American Omar Assad. An officer was reprimanded, 2 others reassigned. There was, however, no criminal prosecution, in which case the U.S. could prevent this unit from participating in any U.S. training and using any U.S. weapons or equipment. Anne-Marie?
Okay. So, Deborah, what is the situation specifically in the West Bank right now?
Well, Vlad, since October 7th, there has been nearly 500 Palestinians killed in the Israeli-occupied West Bank, which is incredibly high, even in a territory that does experience a lot of violence and had experienced violence prior to October the 7th. This is much higher than usual. We spent a fair amount of time there, and certainly it's a tinderbox right now. It's reached boiling point. And particularly exacerbating the situation are the rising frequency of attacks by Israeli settlers. They are regarded as illegal under international law, and a recent Human Rights Watch report found that the Israeli military either took part in or did not protect Palestinians from violent settler attacks in the Israeli-occupied West Bank. And that's already displayed around 20 different communities. These settlers are heavily armed. They've been emboldened as they have support from right-wing factions within the government. And that's also why you saw the U.S. take the unusual step of sanctioning individual settlers over the past few months, Vlad.
All right, Deborah, thank you very much. Appreciate it.